the power to control. Learn about the 500,000 earth angels that are here to help. You only have control over how you perceive things and your actions. Do you look at that as power, or do you see yourself as a victim? Surrendering to what is a process, and it takes time to learn how to accept circumstances rather than being in a state of energetic resistance. Can you look at things as an experience of yourself rather than something happening to you? Letting go is a powerful tool, especially if you have faith that you are well taken care of.
Angel Heart Radio programs should not be used to replace your legal or medical advice, nor your own sound judgment. In truth, nothing can dim your magnificence. You are a divine spark, a universal light. You are here on purpose. You are part of a divine plan. And it's our joy to support you. We're here to celebrate you. Welcome to Angel Heart Radio. Powered by love, Angel Heart Radio is brought to you by AngelLight777.com. A divinely ordered life with spiritual teacher Deb Goldberg on Angel Heart Radio starts now. Angel Heart Radio.
Welcome everyone to Angel Heart Radio. I am Deb Goldberg. I'm your host for a divinely ordered life. It brings me great pleasure to be here with you today, and it's an honor to serve you in the highest ways that I can by bringing you messages of divine love and blessings for your life. You are dearly loved, cherished, and blessed. And I'm so grateful to have Dr. Ruth Anderson here with me today and Teri Angel. So welcome.
Hello, Deb.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I'm sorry that Anaya can't be here today because she was supposed to be on this podcast today and she wasn't feeling very well. So we are, I'm so grateful to have friends that can fill in at the drop of a hat. We are a trio, that's for sure. So tonight we are talking about letting go of things we can't control. And Ruth has a great message about 500,000 earth angels here helping us. And I thought they really go together so that we know that we're not doing this by ourselves, that we have all of this help all the time. So Ruth, why don't you start off with the 500,000 earth angels?
I am happy to. So April 8th of last year, I went into meditation and I was shown gates of the ethereal realm. They looked like wrought iron gates, actually, huge and as wide as you can see on either side, being rolled open and angels coming out of the ethereal. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Angels coming out from that opening and coming into our physical realm. And I was in awe and I said, how many are there? Because there were so many. And I heard 500,000. And that was April 8th. And over that next week or so, I would get messages in meditation about where they were, what they were doing, what to expect. And then I didn't hear anything for a while. And I thought, okay, maybe I made that all up in my head, but I didn't think so. And they had asked me to report out on Enlightened World Online about the 500,000 angels. And I finally said, should I just take that down? Because I haven't put anything on it for several months. It felt kind of weird to have it out there. And they said, yes, take it down. And I said, but you did tell me to put it up, right? And they said, oh yeah. And I was like, okay, fine. Well, then back in, I think it was January of this year, I started getting little hints about the 500,000 angels. And I thought, okay, we'll see what's happening here. But then in March, they started showing up, and we would do a silent meditation and they would show up. Then I was being guided to do other silent meditations and they would show up. And just the other day, they asked me to start reporting again in Enlightened World Online as to what they've been doing. So I've been going back and pulling up our old silent meditations for the last month and the crystalline grid activations that we did this month, and pull it all together on enlightenedworld.online to really see what they've been doing. But what we really have noticed is they are, if you will, boots on the ground, and they are so active in our physical realm right now. It's so exciting. So I guess, just take a look if any of you are open to looking at enlightenedworld.online to see some of the things that these earth angels have been doing. But yes, 500,000 of them. They all look like males, even though they don't all hold male energy. And I asked at one point, why do they all look like males? And they said, just so there's no issues. Okay, fine. I can't wait to see what all they're involved with. Some of the things that they've been involved with us in silent meditations is supporting the planet and the inhabitants of the planet by going and being right next to them and giving them comfort if they're grieving or if they're ill. Going to be with nurses and doctors on the front line in the hospitals. They've supported in that way. We've watched them support by creating a grid around the planet and standing on separate points on the grid all the way around and encompassing the planet in divine white light. And then they even took it a step further and they encompassed every individual on the planet in that blanket of divine white light. So those 500,000 earth angels are absolutely here. They're absolutely supporting us in this place that we are at right now on the planet. I think it's amazing. Teri, I know you've worked with them as well. What have you noticed, Teri?
I've noticed a huge shift in the energy. I do channel the angels, I speak with them constantly, and it's like this explosion of energy. That's the only way I can explain it. Before the last year, I would say, it was like their energy is powerful, but I would always like see like a collective of angels or the main archangels. But then after that, it was just like really revved up. And I've actually caught that glimpse of them as well, Ruth, standing around the healing pool up on mountaintops. I've just really seen them more profound at this time in our earth lifetime. And I love the energy. The energy, oh, how can you explain it? It's like before their arrival, before they came in to really hold the earth, it was like being at maybe an opera, nice and calm and smooth. And now it's like the rock concert, that loudness, that's how the energy is going out from them, just really loud and really profound to get our attention and to let us know their presence. We know that they're there. I'm with you. In my heart, I've seen them. I know their existence and I know why they're here. And they're here for us to help us with this ascension. And I've seen it coming. I've seen it build. And now we have all the help that we could ask for. And the thing is just to ask, right?
It sure is. It sure is. There is so much divine help that it's amazing how supportive that we are
Mm-hmm.
in everything, in every single thing. That I think it's so much love that God sends all this support for us.
Mhm.
And especially now, when we have a worldwide pandemic going on, it is so beautiful to know that there is love wrapped around you all the time.
You know, we were given a beautiful experience to see it up close and personal. A week ago, I guess, on Sunday during our silent meditation on Enlightened World Network, the three of us were in meditation and we ended up in the operating room of one of our colleagues, Camille Desom. And as we were in the operating room with her, we witnessed the archangels, divine healers, the earth angels, all there supporting her. And some of the nurses were emotionally struggling with what was happening for their colleagues out on the front lines. And the earth angels went to those nurses and comforted them, and then were deployed out to the hospitals and the medical centers to support their colleagues. And we could see them across the planet supporting those medical personnel. And we were really reminded, yes, there was immense love for Camille at that moment, but all of us are receiving, able to receive, whether we're open to it or not, able to receive that immense divine love. It's there for all of us.
It certainly is. And what a time that it's needed. So if we talk about letting go of control, letting go of what we can't control, that's what Anaya wanted to say. She said it's easier that way than surrendering. Letting go of what we can't control. The angels are there. God's there, Jesus is there, Divine Mother, whatever divinity that you talk with. But these angels are all wrapped around us, helping us let go of things that we can't control. And right now, that feels like a lot of things outside of ourselves.
Right. If I can interject here, during one of our other silent meditations, we saw the earth angels out being deployed, and it was so cool because as we watched them, they had one arm, one wing around someone who was in body, someone who was grieving, sick, fearful, and the other wing outstretched to Christ. And in so doing, the energy was going from Christ down to this person, and it made the angels glow, this beautiful divine white light. And in our vantage from where we were in meditation, we could look down and see it looked like crosses on the planet wherever there was one of these 500,000 angels, because they were divine light in this shape. It looked like a cross. Beautiful love between Christ coming down through those angels down to people. So when you talk about things that we can and can't control, one of my favorite adages is control what you can control, because there's so much that's out of your control. But even when things are so incredibly out of our control, we always have that divine light and divine love that we can access from Christ, from God, from the archangels and the earth angels.
Beautiful point, Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this time that we're given, I see it as a gift. It's a gift where we can take a pause and we're really seeing what it is that we can and can't control, right? I mean, we can control what we put in our mouth, our food. We can control, certain things like how we're going to spend our time in this seclusion. But we're having to let go of so many things and so many habits and things that we had gotten into where we did stuff just to do it, or we did it subconsciously without thinking, why am I doing this? But we're getting to a point now in this seclusion. It's been, what, a few weeks already that we've been told to stay put. We're really looking at all of the things that we do? What can I do? And I think a lot of what happened in the beginning was trying to control something. So there was the paper toilet shortage, things like that. We're wanting to get some semblance of control because we knew that we didn't have any control over this. And I think we need to look at not just this time. How do we do that all the time? Not when we have a pandemic, not when we have a natural disaster, but looking at our lives and saying, you know, what do I have control of, or what do I even want to have control of? I kind of like the element of surprise in my life at times, and surrendering and letting go of stuff will bring that. It'll bring the beautiful miracles that come instead of putting expectations out on everything.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Sure. I think, one of the things that when I was asking God, like, what is this thing? What is it?
We all ask that question.
Yeah. And did I create this? Which is a no. No, it's created for us. But, what I was told is don't label it, just accept what is. And isn't that just such an understanding of how we go through our whole life, because we're labeling everything, whether it's good or bad or right or wrong, rather than to surrender to it. Okay, this is what is at the moment, and do I have control over it? Well, I don't have control over what's happening outside of me, but I have control over how I feel about it, how I see it, what my perspective is. And if my perspective is in the right place, then I don't suffer.
Right.
If my perspective is everything outside of me is out of control and I'm out of control because I'm watching this, and the fear of the unknown, which happens to all of us, but oh my gosh, it makes you feel out of control and that you're suffering. Even if you don't have the virus, you feel like you're suffering. You're suffering because you see other people have it, or people died, or the expectation that you might get it, the fear, the anticipation of it. So that's the only thing we have control over, is what are we doing in our head? How are we seeing this?
I agree. And Deb, one of my sayings is, you don't have to believe what you think.
Uh-huh. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it.
I love that too. And I always say we have a superpower, and that superpower is the ability to make choices. We decide, how am I feeling, like you said, how am I going to react to this? How am I going to respond? And that is the power that we have. We have that gift as humans to have free will on how we're going to live our life, how we're going to react and respond in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And we live with those choices, don't we? Those consequences that come with those choices.
Yes, we do. And when we're not surrendered to what is, it creates energetic resistance in us. And that feels like frustration and anger inside of us, where you want to blame somebody for what's happening. So I have seen some blame out there of, China, or blaming the president, or blaming this or blaming that. And the fact is, that's not a solution to the situation. All that's doing is creating energetic resistance in you and not accepting what is. And man, this is a big one, because we do this throughout our whole life, and it causes so much grief, um, when we are out of alignment with what is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a distraction. It's a
Mm-hmm.
distraction that keeps us from really going inside and examining ourselves. Because if I can blame you for my problems, I don't have to look at me. I've already just said, okay, it's your fault. You know, and we do that in relationships all the time. All the time, you know, it's your fault that I feel this way. It's your fault that I did this. So yeah, that's really a distraction to start blaming somebody for this. There is no blame. No, it is like you said. It is what it is, and it's our job now to take that pause, that beautiful pause, and just let Earth reset again.
Yeah. And it's not, people don't understand that they're doing this. This is just kind of like a human tendency, because they don't want to, and I've done this too. I did it my whole life. Is like, it's easier to blame somebody else because you're fearful and you're scared, and then that has created a change in your life. And because we don't know how to go in and sit with that fear and process it, it is easier to blame other people, but it creates so much more suffering, making it makes you feel like something outside of you has control over you, when that's never true. Never true. So the only thing that's, you know, is true is that you are divine, and this is a divine experience, and that we're always in divine order, even when it looks like craziness. So the angels, if you need help in letting go and trying to understand the situation in a way of acceptance and allowing, the angels are there. Call on them. Call on them. They're all, God's there, Jesus, whoever you relate to. There is so much divine power within you, and it's there for you to access, and what a great time to find it, right? I wonder how many people are waking up right now. I wonder how many people actually waking up and recognizing that that divine love lives inside of them and they can access it.
I do think that a number of folks are wanting to explore more about their spirituality, their connection to their creator, however they view it. I do think that that is happening. And I also see that folks that are light workers who are already in their power with the spiritual divinity are being called to step up even further and come out as leaders right now. So they are also being expected, not expected, but asked to connect even further with their understanding of the spiritual divinity.
Yeah, and I fully believe that we volunteered. Dolores Cannon, I love her work, and she said there are volunteers for certain events on Earth, and I believe we're here for such a time as this.
Mm-hmm.
We came here for this. We're doing this as that person that said, okay, I'll be there. You know, I'll support. I'll shine a light. I really fully believe that in my heart that we are here as volunteers at this time.
Mm-hmm. I think so. And it gives us an opportunity to use every tool that we learned, right? Everything that we learned how to navigate um, this experience divinely.
Oh yes, oh yes, we've been prepared
Mm-hmm.
time. So all of those experiences that you had leading up to this, all of those skills you learned are being called on right now. Absolutely.
So what we want to do is get into a place of where we know that we are so well taken care of that we can let go. And it feels powerful, actually. It feels free to let go and know that you're taken care of every step of the way. And that if you need help, all you have to do is ask. You're being heard all the time.
And isn't that what we all want? We want to be heard. We want to be seen and acknowledged. And Deb, I feel like when you surrender, your energy gets so much lighter. When you're carrying those burdens and you're trying to hold that burden for everyone that's going through this right now, that's pretty heavy.
Mhm.
And I love Dr. Ruth Anderson has introduced us to the healing pool. And
Mhm.
there's one meditate or several meditations where we bring a suitcase or a backpack or we bring whatever it is that's a burden and we drop it there. And then your energy just soars because your spirit's light. And that's the power of surrender. That's the power of saying, I don't have to carry this burden. I can call on the angels to help me take it. I can call on divine source. I call it God. I can call on God and say, please take this because it's not mine to carry.
Mhm.
So surrender makes our whole energy feel lighter. And we have to put bricks on our feet to keep us on the ground.
Mhm. Yeah. And and I talked about this several times of while we were in silent meditation that I felt like I was carrying so much weight of the world, just sending out so much love and so much healing light. Uh, and I had described that the earth just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and it went into my heart, and but I could feel the heaviness of everything, and I Jesus came by and just plucked it out of my heart, plucked the earth out, put it in his pocket, and said, "Got this. I got this. You don't have to work so hard. All you have to do is actually be in joyful peace and to be sitting in your love, and that is enough. You don't have to try hard to send love. You just be it. You just be. It's a state of mind. It's a state of being. It's not a doing." And so I got that correction, even though I knew that, but I got so sucked into feeling I have to keep giving, and I wasn't giving enough, and I had to keep giving more of my love, when all I had to do is just stay in it. I just had to be it. And I thought, well, what a great lesson of surrendering, because you don't usually think that the lesson comes in that way. It comes in other ways, like I have to stop, I need to stop this or I need to stop that, or um, but this was really about sending out too much love. And then the what I get told is you can't give any more than what's already there. Like there's so much love there. You can't give more. The more is already there. It's just standing in it, being it, which is a whole life journey, right? To stay in that space 24/7, if that's even possible. That might be asking too much in a human experience.
Well, then I think you're not getting the human experience.
You're right. You're not getting. And like John the Baptist said, you wouldn't be here if you didn't feel, and you wouldn't be here. Because I've asked those questions too. Why do I have to feel? Why can't I just stay in joy all the time? Well, you wouldn't be here, Deb, having this experience if you could do that. It's funny. It's so funny.
Yeah, it is. And Deb, you're talking about giving and giving. I think we're being called to lead by example and
Hmm.
to let other people see, okay, we can maintain a calm essence through whatever comes up for us because we're secure in that confidence that, God's got this. And I've heard that same message. I've seen like the angels surrounding the earth, and they're like, we got this.
Hmm.
You just go, just be. You just take care of you and, your energy. We've got this. So we're really being called to be seen as that secure individual that knows inside where our source is. And our source is God.
Hmm. Most definitely.
I think that we really are. And I think that there's also the element of, and I'm in a human body, that needs to be brought to the table too, because I think
Mm-hmm.
if we just say, I've got this 100%, I don't think that's touchable. I don't think that's reachable. I don't think anybody can relate to that.
Mm-mm.
We do. All three of us have gone through our moments. Holy cow. What does this mean for me? What does this mean for my family? What is this going to look like as it rolls out? We've been very fortunate, however, that whenever one of us dips into the trough, the other two of us are going, it's okay, come on, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. We're very lucky to have each other in that way. Not everybody has that kind of emotional support that we do.
That's true. And it's just so wonderful to bring it together and um, and be able to send all of this love and knowledge and light that comes through, and to be there for other people, to help them through this, uh, and to help them connect within, so that they can feel this themselves. They can feel the support that's inside themselves all the time. So letting go is actually a powerful tool. But nobody talks to us about it being a powerful tool.
It is a very powerful tool, because that resistance of trying to hold on to the way things were, that's a killer. That'll keep you up at night. It gets your heart racing. It makes it so you don't want to eat, or you want to eat too much. That's a very strong energy in our lives. So yes, by letting go, we're not fighting
Mm-hmm.
any resistance, and we can really just relax into it and just be. And you keep telling me all the time, Deb, that's all we're being asked to do, is to
Mm-hmm.
just be.
Yeah. Every day. That's all I hear. I just want you to be happy. Just be happy. Just stay in happy. That is it. I'm like, why is it hard to stay in happy 24/7? I don't know. But life is complicated. We have we have all this human complications that keep stripping away. So the better you get at keep getting your happy back on, um, is like getting your bunny on. I love that, getting your bunny on, is, and however you do that. Um, but I want people to know that when change happens and your reaction is fear, and you start wanting to control things, that is such a normal reaction to life. And so we're not saying that what you're doing is wrong or anything like that. I want people to understand that we hear you, we know, we feel you, we've all been there, but it's that there's an alternative. There's an alternative to feel like you're suffering. And when you realize that there is so much help around you, and even for people that don't believe in angels or believe in the divinity in any way, everybody has a higher part of themselves, and that is what you access when you can't reach out to the divine. You reach out to the highest part of you, your higher self, and that part of you can help you immensely, because you can connect with that part of you that knows more, that's more expansive than you, that is that's all your wisdom is there, all your understanding of morality is there. So it is always, there's always some place to turn within yourself, if that feels more comfortable for you. But life is so much more expansive than just that, and we are covered in every way possible with support. It's like God's loving arms wrapped around in every imaginable way. And it's, sometimes you look at people and you say they're an angel, right? You look at other, I mean, I feel that way about you. I feel that way about a bunch of other people that, like, it's like, here's, you want to call that an earth angel or whatever. You see people that are just, it's, everybody's the face of God, but some people look more like it than others in the way that they feel, the way that they feel, their vibration. So there's always somebody around you that is an earth angel. And a lot of times we don't realize that there's somebody in that capacity standing right next to you, coming in and out of your home, working right next to you, right by your side all the time. Everybody has this in place, but we don't see it. We're like kind of blind to it until we awaken to it.
Yeah, the way I see it, Deb, it's almost like everybody has a thread of divine light coming down through them. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you get a good glimpse of that, and other times it's kind of hard to find.
Yeah. Yeah, but that light lives with that thread lives within you.
Right.
It's an important time to reach out and start to learn some new habits and letting go, surrendering. I just had that talk with my husband the other day. He was reading something and he was talking about how people get to their most desperate moment, where their life is just destroyed, or there's so much destruction going on in whatever way that is. And that's when they start to reach out for God or some kind of divine help. And all of my lessons have been, you don't have to wait to go there. You don't have to wait till you self-destruct to go through, what is it called? The dark night of the soul. You don't have to go through the dark night of the soul. You could just ask. You could just ask for help. And all you have to do is have your heart open, surrender to something that's greater than you are, and not fear.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Dad. But it's our human ego that keeps telling us, you can do this. You can
Mm-hmm.
do this. You got this. You don't need help. It's that just the ego that keeps us from going to that place of asking for help. And so many times we do have to hit rock bottom. We do
Mm-hmm.
have to go until there's just like nothing left. And then we say, okay, I can't do this anymore by myself. And that's when a lot of us reach out for help. We reach out to say, all right, what's this all about? I've been there. I've asked that question. What is this all about?
Mm-hmm.
And what am I supposed to do with this now? So those are the moments when people really start to question, and they question, is there a God? Is there something that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing that maybe I need to connect with?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's that time for many people, and it happens that way. For others, they come into this life awake. We use that term. They know who they are. They are very in touch with the spiritual realm. So it's different for everybody. But a very common thing is to always want to, for humans, is to always want to have that control in your life. And I love that we're doing this topic tonight, of not having the control. And many of us right now are feeling that. And so I do. You asked the question earlier, do we really think that people are finding their higher self right now? They're finding the God of their understanding right now. And I believe that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe it's happening, that people are starting to question, all right, what's this all about? And some people are using God to blame for this. How could you let this happen? You're a loving God, right? How could you let this happen to all of us right now? So this is really a time of humans questioning. And I'm glad that we're questioning. I'm glad that we're going in deeper during this time, because I feel like that's going to benefit all of humanity if we're all asking the question, how can we how can we go forward from this in a better way with a better world, and look at those things. So yeah, I think it's a good thing for us to start questioning and start looking at what we can and can't control in our lives.
Now, Teri, you brought up a really good point. Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael taught me a couple of years ago two of the barriers for people to finding God, to knowing God. One of them is unrealistic expectations of what God is and what God does. And when you said some folks are blaming God for this pandemic, I don't believe that God sat there and went, I think we're going to throw a curve. We're going to throw down the pandemic. I don't believe
Either.
that no matter what rolls out in front of us, they're there to support us.
Mhm.
So, and then the other thing that kept people from their creator was a sense of not being worthy of
Mhm.
that kind of love. Yeah.
Very true.
Yes.
It's very true. And it is the ego that says, I know better than God. That's the part of us that wants to blame. It's like, I know better that that shouldn't be happening right now. And it's sort of like your ego saying, I know better than God. I know more. And there's no truth to that at all. But that's what's inside all of us, is that type of thinking. And it comes from fear because it wants control out of protection. It's protection. It thinks it's protecting you. And so we don't want to get on hammering the ego, because there's just no truth to that either. It is a protection mechanism for all of us, of how to cope with life sometimes when it is just really difficult to cope with. So it's important to have compassion for yourself in these moments. And it is that those are such true statements. People really don't know who God is. And so they don't know what to expect. They've only heard about God through scripture or from other people, but they don't have an intimate relationship with divine love. And so when you get in front of God or divine love, in any way that you imagine that to be, and I know I went through this too. I was on my knees. I didn't feel worthy of being in the presence of God. And all I kept hearing was, get up, get up,
I heard that too.
get off your knees. And that it is not, it's having reverence and respect and mutual love and admiration between you and your creator. It is not fear. It is not, it's not, I bow down because I'm unworthy, because you are one with that. And that's what God teaches you. So if you don't ever go in and ask, and I tell people when they ask questions, I'm like, don't ask me, ask God. You go in and ask that question yourself, and you'll get an answer, because you may not take my answer, and my answer may be different than what I've been taught, than what you'll be taught, because you're on your unique journey. And what's right for me may not be right for you, and vice versa. So you have to go in and ask those questions yourself within. And I promise you, if you have an open heart, even if you're scared, and even if you're kind of weary, if you have an open heart, you're going to hear the answer.
Yes. And even in the Bible, it says, seek and you shall find. The first word is seek. So we do need to ask, and we'll get the understanding. Just be patient. That's the whole thing. Be patient. And I've talked to so many people like, well, why can't I hear? Why can't I get the messages? You can. You just need to use some patience and lose the expectation That's what I always say. Lose that expectation that it's going to happen in a certain way. Just ask the question and then wait for it. And it's that waiting that's hard for us, isn't it, as humans? We're in a time of instant gratification. So we think it's supposed to come like immediately, but sometimes it's in the silence that we get those answers.
When you think about the fact that there is no time
Uh-huh.
in the ethereal realm, we want an answer like that, and they're going, yeah,
Right. And a lot of times I go, it's already there, silly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's right in front of your face, but you're not seeing it. Yeah. I think that's a great point, Teri, the silence, because sitting in silence, sitting in quiet is so much strength in there. Even when you're feeling scared, is because divine love is within you, understanding every single thing that you're feeling, every thought. Nothing is a secret. Nothing within you is a secret. And when you're sitting those moments of silence is when you can feel divine love come over you, right?
Yes.
And then when you start to feel that, then you can surrender to it. You want to surrender to it because it feels so good. It feels so good. So letting go is a powerful tool, and going inside and making that connection and knowing that you are surrounded always. There's never a moment in the day that you're not surrounded with divine love. So how can we help you figure out how to do that? How do we help you go inside? I mean, we do on Enlightened World Network, we do a meditation every day, right? So that people can get quiet and hear or allow themselves to float off into a different space, and where that they can feel some peace, get in touch with divine love.
So much of what we're talking about here is creating a relationship, and it takes time to create a relationship. And when you think about the typical church service that's once a week, and you go in and they talk to you, and you might sing some songs, but the actual amount of time in prayer is about 3 minutes, and people are fidgety, right? That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about sitting in prayerful meditation and really communing back and forth, and it does take time, and it's a daily event.
Mm-hmm. And you can start with 5 minutes a day and then work your way up to whatever it is that you feel comfortable with, because that's all that this is, a relationship with yourself, with your divine self, with the creator of you. And as creation, you are creation in motion. So there is nothing more important in your life than this intimate relationship, to help you with everything you need to navigate on this planet. I sometimes I feel like, I think I was telling you that, what's that song, Ground Control to Major Tom? It's sort of like, okay, what's happening now? Okay, this is what's happening, or this is what I'd like you to do, or just be at peace, or whatever it is. That it's sort of like you have this commander, this loving commander that is, shows support in all so many different ways of divine images, helping you navigate every little thing that goes on in your life. Even, what should I eat for lunch? What would be best for me? What's in my highest good? Why am I having a problem with a relationship? What is the best way to handle it? Help me see this differently. Oh, help me see this differently. That is such a good question. How can I see this differently? How can I see this virus differently?
Perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Perspective is everything. And I always love the quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer: when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So
Mm-hmm.
when we change the way we look at what's going on in the world right now, we can look at it, as something happening to us, and we're having to do certain things. We have all these rules and restrictions, or we can look at it as something that happened for us so that we can take this time, we can take this pause, and we can go into the positive of what the benefit is from this. So I love that, Deb. How can I look at things in that more positive light and ask that question every day?
Mm-hmm.
How can I change my perspective?
Mm-hmm.
Well, another question that I like to ask is, how may I serve you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. How do I need to show up today? Where do I need to go? What do I need to do? And also knowing that when you sit in silence and you're peaceful and happy, you are serving in more ways than you could ever imagine. Just by doing that. There's so many other things that we do to help, but when you can sit in peace and be happy and feel comfort and safety because you know that you are protected, that in itself creates so many waves of love outside of yourself.
But Deb, it's almost like you're dusting off your divine thread, and
Uh-huh.
other people can see it, and it
Yeah.
calms them.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Dusting off your divine thread. We're gonna have to do something with that. Oh, so last minute thoughts. Something you would like to add before we close? And also, please tell people how to connect with you. Teri, would you like to go first?
Sure. What I want everybody to remember is, if you stay focused in the love, then the fear has no place inside of you. Remember that God is love, and love is the energy that heals us. So let's all focus on love, focus on what's good in our lives instead of what is potential. When we look at what if, then we're projecting. Look at what you can do in this very moment and stay in that energy of love and come from that place in your heart. And you can reach me at angelspeakers.com. That's my website, and you can just reach out to me there. Thank you, Deb, for having us on tonight.
Oh, thank you for joining me. I probably wouldn't have been here this evening. Oh, I'm very grateful to the both of you.
And Archangel Michael shared with me in meditation, he said, keep your eyes on me. You don't have to ride this roller coaster. Just keep your eyes on me.
Mhm.
I can be reached at enlightenedworld.online, and also with Enlightened World Network on Facebook and on YouTube.
I love that too. I love both of those. And it is true. We're always being taught to stay focused on love, on divine love, always. That you don't lose your focus off of that. And when you do, you just come right back and you come back and you come back as many times as it takes. So I'm very grateful for being here with you all tonight and sending lots of love out to Anea. I hope she feels better, and Camille, and all the people in the world right now that are going through uh, their own growth in what is happening and changes, and stay healthy. You are loved. You are blessed. And when in doubt, never underestimate the power of prayer. You are being heard and listened to throughout the universe, and it always responds with infinite and eternal love. Remember to go inside and listen for the whispers of heaven. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
Listening to another fabulous program on Angel Heart Radio. Our goal is to remind you of how much you matter in the world and to let you know that we appreciate who you are in the world. You can check out who's on, when we're on, and who our guests are at angelheartradio.com. Everything is there. It's all just one click away. Angel Heart Radio programs are powerful tools to help you in your life and your life experience. They are not intended, nor should they, be used to replace your medical or legal advice.
Powered by love, Angel Heart Radio is brought to you by angellight777.com.
The views and opinions expressed by Angel Heart Radio hosts, guests, co-hosts and associates should not be construed as advice from Angel Heart Radio.